Thanks for tuning into my channel today. I wanted to do a video that has been requested by a few friends of mine. It seems to be a misconception that contouring in makeup is something that only makeup artists or people who have a ton of time to get ready in the morning can accomplish. And I wanted to do a video to show a quick way to do contouring on a daily basis, step by step, in just a few minutes. And I'm going to be using inexpensive products today that anybody could afford to add to their makeup regimen if they wanted to. And I think that the benefit about contouring is that you can adjust how your face shape looks a little bit. And what's great about that is it can be slimming. It could highlight areas that you really like about your face and kind of make some of the areas that you like less, like if you're bothered by a slight double chin or something like that, recede a bit from the eye so you see them less. And the other benefit is, if you think about it, when you're using foundation, it makes your skin all one color and it's very smooth, which is great. It's what we're shooting for, but it's also pretty unnatural. So if you want your face to look real and natural and three-dimensional, you want to get some contouring in there so that you can get a more three-dimensional effect. Let's get started. On my face, I have my base. So I have foundation and I have concealer under my eyes just to brighten the area and cover any dark circles. And I've covered up any blemishes that are going on right now. For that, if you're curious, I just used MAC Studio Fix. I wear NC25 and I used the Real Technique sponge to apply it. I really like the sponge. The angles make it really easy to use. And I used Maybelline Fit Me Concealer. I really like this one too. Oh, and I set with the good old Coty Airspun loose powder, which is really inexpensive and a fantastic setting powder. It's in the translucent shade. So let's go ahead and get started. I'm going to use a really inexpensive contouring palette. I just discovered this one, and to be honest, I actually like it even better than my much pricier Kat Von D and NYX contouring palettes. So I've got a little dust on it here. I'm going to show you what's in here. This is the e.l.f. contour palette. It has 4 shades in it, and actually it's like this normally, but I'm covering the mirror so it doesn't bounce light back at you. So you have like this kind of creamy vanilla yellow shade, and then you have like a bright white. It has a tiny bit of shimmer in it, but it's very, very small, so it's not like glittery at all. And then it has a cooler toned brown, and then it has a warmer, lighter toned brown. So these are the shades that are in the contour palette. The cover of it looks like this. I found mine at CVS. It was $6, so really, really affordable. And then tool-wise, I'll show you the brushes that I'm going to be using for this look. My contouring itself, the part where I put the darker shade on my face, I actually like to use either this e.l.f. angled blush brush. It looks like this. Okay, and this is, I believe, a $3 brush. And sometimes I switch it up. If that brush is dirty, sometimes I grab for this Tarte brush. It's just kind of round. It's not too thick. It's kind of like flattened and pinched in at the bottom. And it's kind of soft. It's not super dense. But this just came with a set I got a few years ago. But any similar shaped brush, if it's pretty fluffy and made of natural bristles, you could use that too. So one of these two would be my preference for the contour, and that's like the darker shade of the face. The highlight is the lighter shade. And then for the highlight portion, I'm going to be using two Real Techniques brushes. I'm going to be using this pink one here. Ooh, does it say what it's called? Ah, it's called Setting Brush. So this smaller one, and this is what I'm going to use under the eye area. And then this one is actually the Expert Face Brush. It has a nice dense rounded top, but I like to use it with my highlighting. So that's like this. Alright, let's go ahead and get started. So this actually goes pretty quickly here. It's going to go slower because I'm explaining things as I go, but normally I can do this in just a couple of moments. So I'm going to go ahead and use this angled brush because that's probably what's going to be easiest for you to find. And I'm going to go ahead and begin. Like I said, I have all of my base on, but nothing to add any dimension to my face. Notice how the color is just kind of flat. It's nice and smooth and even, hopefully, but it's flat. So I'm going to start with this deeper shade here, and if there's not light blaring on this, it doesn't look quite as light as you're seeing right now. It is good for multiple skin tones, not just really fair skin, just so you know. And I'm just going to come in here just lightly like this. Okay, and I'm going to be starting around where my ear is and going towards the corner of my mouth. And so you're kind of thinking about a line right here. you want to put the darker shade where the shadow would naturally be. So the part of your cheeks that would like suck in if you were showing off your cheekbones. So if you made that funny fish face, like that funny little spot right there, that's where you want the line to go. Okay, so I'm just going to do it here. And I think I'm going to start on this side because you can probably see this side better. So I'm going by the ear, and I'm just ever so slightly tapping on to kind of create a little bit of depth to this area here with the deeper shade of brown. Okay, I might add just a tad bit more. Sometimes you have to blow the excess off your brush. One thing, you really don't want to go heavy with this because you do not want to look like you just put a bunch of mud on your face. Not a cute look. Okay, so you're going to keep tapping, and notice I'm not going all the way to my mouth or the corner of my mouth. That's not going to look natural or real. Okay, you'll look like a mannequin then. Not a good look. Okay, so here, see how I have just a little bit of shadow there? I'm going to go ahead and do the other side real quick, and I'll fast forward this for you in editing. Okay, so I have that on both sides. Now the next thing I'm going to do is go ahead and get some of the lighter shade on the top. It's the kind of vanilla, oops, sorry, this is like really hard to get. Okay, this kind of creamy vanilla shade. I'm going to get a little bit of that, just tap my brush in. Okay, and I'm going to go along this area here, right under my eyes, all the way up to the corner. Okay, so I'm going to make this nice and bright, because you want your eyes to look bright. That's a part you want to draw attention to. So remember, we're putting light where we want to draw attention and shadow where we don't. Okay, do a little on this side. And just a little bit. You don't need to go overboard with this, and you don't need to really like dab your brush around. Just lightly tap it in and lightly tap across your face. Okay? This whole area right below my eye and across the top of the cheekbone. Okay. And then you can also add a little bit of that just right in this area here to brighten this up. And then a lot of people like to put highlight right on the top of their lips, like the Cupid's bow area. And a little bit right under here, because it makes your lips look like they pout out a little bit because you're bringing light there. Okay. And these are just slight things, okay? And then next thing what we're going to do is use the really light bright white shade. I'm going to highlight right across the top of the cheekbone, okay? So I'm going to tap in with a little brush, and just a little bit, because this is really saturated color. It's nice and pigmented. It's very soft, easy to work with, okay? So I'm just going to go very lightly right across here. Hopefully you can kind of see that showing up a little bit. You can see it kind of catching the light there. See how nice that looks? It just adds a little bit of glow there. Okay. And then I'm going to put on a little bit of blush. I'm going to be using this Milani Baked Blush. And this is in the color Luminesso. This is a universally flattering shade. Looks good on almost everybody. And I'm going to be using another clean e.l.f. angled blush brush. I'll just tap that on there. And just smile so the round part of your cheek, your apples of your cheeks show. Just come up a little bit, like right under where you put that bright white highlight. Just a little bit up the cheekbone. Okay, so essentially you've got contour, highlight, and your blush kind of goes on the apple over top the highlight. If it overlaps a little, that's okay. And kind of between the two. Okay, and then last but not least, if you're like me and you're pretty pale, you might need to warm up your complexion a little bit. So what I like to do is take the fair shade of brown here and just use a fluffy brush. I'm just going to tap and warm up a little bit around my forehead, like the corners of my forehead, the very top, kind of blending into the hairline. This will help actually make the forehead look a little bit smaller too. If you have a larger forehead, you can reduce that appearance. And then you can kind of go right over the highlight and blend it a little bit. Just warm everything up along the bottom of your chin. I'm just using a tiny bit of this. I just want everything to look nice and soft and blend it out. Okay, you want to hit up your temples. You can do that here. And this actually will slim the face too, because you're adding a little bit of depth of color around the outside of your face, but keeping the light drawn here. So your face is going to look slimmed and the eye is going to be drawn to your eye area and around your mouth. So those are the areas where we're accentuating with color and lashes and all those things. So that's why it, adds to your appearance. And last but not least, I wanted to show you how you can help make a double chin kind of recede from the eye a bit. If that's something that bothers you, you can just take a little bit of this darker shade of brown with your angled brush, and you're just going to go right underneath where the shadow is on your jawline. And so you're just going to very carefully do this. And see, like right here I have more rounding, and so if I want that to kind of go away a bit more, just go right up underneath it and right up to the edge of it. As straight a line as possible. You don't want to like start coming up the cheek, because then it'll be obvious and you'll look kind of dirty. Not a good look. Okay, to the edge. Ooh, I'm hitting my brush on the desk, I'm being violent. And then just right alongside the other side. Okay, and then you can bring a little bit of the medium brown down the neck to help blend that. Okay, so there you have a look that involves contouring and highlighting, and it was really pretty simple. Also, don't just substitute a bronzer for a contour shade. It has to be a cooler shade of brown, otherwise you are not going to be making the appearance of a shadow. You're going to make an unnatural warm or even orangey look. Shadows aren't orange, so it's a dead giveaway that you don't know what you're doing. That was something I'm sure I did for the first several months that I was doing this. So if you're not using the e.l.f. contour palette, I have a list of other recommended products. You can find that on my blog, and I will link to that list. It's a downloadable, printable list that you can take to the store with you of products that I've personally tried and will vouch for being good. There's some other options on there for you if you can't find or don't want to use the e.l.f. contour palette. I hope this video was helpful to you, and thank you for watching.